and Miguel stepped off the battered pickup and onto the gravel road that curved beneath ancient oaks. The sun hung low, gilding the vineyard rose in molten light. He clutched his few belongings, a frayed backpack, a battered water bottle, and squared his shoulders. This job might change everything for him and his family. He followed the owner, Señor Vidal, across a field of ripening grapes. The air was thick with sweetness and dust, but beneath it all, a faint, chemical smell persisted. Every vine stood like a soldier in neat formation, their clusters swollen with promise. "Take a whiff," Señor Vidal said, lifting a plump grape to Miguel's nose. "Can you smell the fragrance of grape and iron?" Miguel leaned in, closing his eyes. The grape's perfume was unmistakable, but beneath it lingered something cold and metallic, the sharp tang of fresh blood masked by sugar. He nodded, uncertain. "I think so, Señor." "Good, old sport. Now really smell it. Close your eyes. Picture the fields of buttermilk flowers that surround this estate. A hint of vanilla, maybe?" Vidal's voice gushed, almost tender, his eyes unblinking. Miguel opened his eyes to find the owner smiling too broadly. "Yes, I think so, Señor." They moved on past the grapevines to a low fence surrounding a pig pen. Inside, a lone sow grunted among the thick mud. Half buried in the trough was a lone boot, caked with red earth and dark leather that had begun to decompose. Miguel froze. "That's just from last season's storm," Vidal explained, brushing a finger across the leather. "Floodwaters washed everything this way. Nature's contribution helps with the terroir." Miguel nodded, though his heart pounded an uneven rhythm. They passed a wooden shed, where Vidal tended a butcher's rack, hung with cured hams. On the floor lay a small pile of fraying wallets. Leather, nylon, canvas, each stamped with names from distant provinces. Miguel swallowed, the metallic scent suddenly stronger. "Travelers leave things behind," Vidal shrugged, his eyes scanning the vineyard with proprietary pride. "Lost and never claimed. Composting the past, you might say." Miguel forced a smile and pressed on. As they reached the crest of a gentle hill, the vines parted to reveal an ancient well. Its mouth was rimmed with moss and rust, an ominous black circle in the darkening light. Vidal bent over and dipped a silver goblet into the dark water, letting it catch the last rays of daylight before raising it to Miguel. "Come here." A final scent. He offered the rim to Miguel's nose. Miguel hesitated, glancing at the well's yawning darkness. He leaned forward, inhaling a swirl of damp earth, sweet grape lees, and that metallic whisper that now screamed in his ears. He recoiled slightly, dizzy from the overwhelming odor. "What is it?" he asked, his voice tight. Vidal's face blurred into quiet menace. He straightened slowly, his casual posture replaced by coiled stillness. Miguel's chest contracted when he saw the steel barrel of a pistol slip from beneath Vidal's jacket. "Are you going to shoot me?" Miguel whispered. Vidal's grin revealed a single gold tooth. He raised the gun until its cold muzzle hovered at Miguel's temple. "Yes." Miguel's pulse thundered as the world narrowed to that metal ring. He tasted dust and fear. Then he heard a soft, rhythmic scrape behind him, a sound that seemed to have been present for much longer than he realized. From the shadows among the vines, two figures emerged, lean and utterly silent. They carried shovels over their shoulders, the wooden handles worn smooth. Vidal turned to them and laughed, low and jovial. "I was just about to explain the final secret ingredient." He looked back at Miguel, his eyes hardening. "It's what gives the vintage its body, its complexity. The terroir must be fed." The gun at Miguel's temple fired. He fell into the darkness of the well. The cold water hit him, not with a splash, but a heavy, sickening thud. The scent of sweet grape lees and blood iron overwhelmed him as the two figures worked. The last thing he felt was the heavy dirt raining down, quickly smothering the darkness as part of the dark ritual. The last thing he heard was the continuous, relentless scrape of shovels. The last thing he smelled was the rich, intoxicating fragrance of grape and iron.